Government and Barbados's two largest trade unions are set to return to the bargaining table tomorrow to discuss pending public sector layoffs. The unions are pushing to reduce the proposed 3,000 job cuts. It's expected to be the final day of talks ahead of the announced January 15th date for the layoffs to commence. This follows the most recent meeting between the two sides at government headquarters yesterday evening. The 3-hour meeting ended at around 6:45, and both the Minister of Finance, Chris Sinclair, and Minister of Labour, Esther Bayo-Suku, said government is committed to the process of seeing how much of an impact the union's proposals can have on the situation.
I think we are pretty much on the same page as to what is required to assist the government in achieving its objectives of reducing expenditure in particular. And there are some union proposals which, as I said before, are will be used. We will respond fully, formally on Monday to those proposals. But I think they pretty much know where our position is.
Well, Mr. Sinclair said time is of the essence as the deadline approaches.
This situation cannot be, allowed to drag on ad infinitum. It has to come to an end. We made considerable progress today. I think they fully understand what the situation is that we're dealing with, and how we're going to go about dealing with it jointly. And hopefully on Monday, our expectation is that we will, if not have full agreement, that we certainly will be able to have a full recognition of what needs to be done and how we're going to go about doing it.
Well, meanwhile, the union leaders say they will continue to push for the best possible outcome for workers.
At the end of the day, if we can reduce the number of people who are to be laid off by whatever figure, then we would have done what the trade union is supposed to do, and we would have done that by the best means that we think are available to us at this time.
And in the meantime, we're hearing that the 300 workers dismissed from government's National Environmental Enhancement Programme, otherwise known as the NEEP programme, were not part of the 3,000 layoffs proposed by government. The disclosure from Minister of Labour, Dr. Esther Bayo-Suku.
I know that we've heard reference made to the NEEP program that was cut as being a government's part implementing the 3,000 layoffs or whatever. That was not that. That was separate and distinct from the layoffs, because that was a situation where a program had come to an end because the funding of it could not be sourced any further. So that program had to come to an end. So that was not governments rushing to do something that they said they would do from January 15th and then implement at December 31st. That was a separate matter, which got kind of confused in the whole thing.
Well, opposition leader Mia Mottley is accusing the government of playing footsie with the lives and emotions of Barbadians. This as she criticizes recent meetings with the trade unions to discuss public sector layoffs. Ms. Mottley suggests that government and the unions are building the hopes of Barbadian workers for a major letdown.
Both sides were on a collision course. Political operatives have sought to stave this off by suggesting that they meet and each shave a little something. Now we are being told the Prime Minister will be brought in. So come Tuesday morning, after another 18-hour night and day meeting, we will be told, okay, the Prime Minister has stepped in and it won't be 3,000 going home, but 2,500. Big deal. While we recognize that any jobs saved are welcome, what about Barbados? What difference will it really make to the country?
Students at one secondary school are being promised help if their parents are among those cut from the public service. The assurance has come from principal of the Parkinson Secondary School, Jeff Brooms.
Well, I've already asked the teachers to identify the names of those students who either mother or father or both may have been laid off, and we are also going to be doing things within the school to take care as best we can, give assistance. I don't think we can say take care, but to give assistance to whatever families we identify, because at the end of the day we got to look for our own as well.
Well, in an interview with the CBC News, the Parkinson principal also revealed plans to help students from the Trumaka Secondary School and Chateau Bel Air St. Vincent. According to him, the offer of assistance follows the Caribbean Drama Festival late last year, when Parkinson hosted some students from that institution. Mr. Brooms says he's been in contact with officials there who told him that some of those Vincentian students lost everything in the deadly Christmas Eve trough system, which devastated parts of the country.
We are going to we're going to organize some fundraising event, maybe a show. I mean, we have lots of musicians here, and we have very good relationships with people like Mikey and Gabby and John and Bike and stuff, and Edmonds No Scholar. If we host a show to raise funds to try to help these children at that time, I will go to St. Vincent and take a few students with me and see what we can do to help them.
Well, a historic moment in cruise tourism today as the Norwegian Cruise Line's largest ship, the Norwegian Breakaway, made its maiden voyage to our country. With just over 4,000 passengers aboard and a crew of 1,600, the vessel arrived at the Bridgetown port just after 8 this morning. Chief Executive Officer at the Barbados Port, David Jean-Marie, revealed that the ship is one of the few vessels which home ports in New York to travel to Barbados since fuel prices increased.
You're doing this season 2 calls, this one, and the second one is on the 26th of January, in which we'll bring at least 4,000 passengers per visit. That's 8,000 passengers. This is quite important to us in terms of our forecasting and so on. It makes our cruise business look pretty good. You also have 4,000 crew members collectively. Last year, cruise tourism grew by 7.4%.
Well, in the meanwhile, the chairman of the Barbados Tourism Authority, Adrian Elcock, says the delays which were experienced transporting passengers off the vessel bolster the argument for the need for a larger cruise terminal.
I do apologize for a little bit of the congestion that your passengers may have, but for us it's a good thing when we see so many bodies on the island. But it also demonstrates why we need an expanded port facility with a high level of urgency, because things have to work.
Well, a Dominican-born retired archbishop has been named a cardinal in the Roman Catholic Church. He is Kelvin Felix, the Archbishop Emeritus of Castries. Often called the princes of the Catholic Church, the position of cardinal is one of the highest positions in the Church. Cardinal Felix was among 19 others who were named as new cardinals by Pope Francis this morning. Local Catholic priest Father Clement Paul says the appointment has been welcomed by Catholics across the region. According to him, Cardinal Felix was once in charge of the Catholic Church here in Barbados for just over 2 months.